What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Show. My name's AJ Gales. How y'all doing? It is time once more for the weekly show. You know, I gotta admit, for the first time in a long time, it actually feels good to say that again. Now that I've kind of gotten my head on straight, I kind of word vomited out just my feet. You know, I'm dumping my purse out here. My feelings in that video from a few days ago. If you want to know more about what I'm talking about, go check that out. But, you know, I've been dealing with some personal issues and just some internal stuff with my own mind. Either way, I'm not gonna rehash all that. Either way, I'm kind of making my decision. You know what? I'm gonna slowly ease back into things instead of saying, you know what, I'm gonna do like 3 weeks of news. You know what? I just pulled like 4 stories that I thought would be fun to talk about. So I got 2 serious ones that kind of fit in with what this video's titled, or this episode's titled. One of them being the Microsoft acquisition of ZeniMax Media, i.e., pretty much Bethesda. Which is a big thing, and oddly enough, I cannot believe I'm going to say these words. I agree with Phil Spencer on something. Just, bad shiver up my spine there. And something that Sony's doing that I'm not a big fan of with the PS5. We'll go into that in that article. Then I got 2 little shorter, fun articles, one on AC Valhalla and the other on Yakuza Like a Dragon. So, all that stuff. On to our first topic here, though. Future Bethesda games don't need to be on PS5, says Xbox Phil Spencer. Yeah. I mean, as soon as I heard that they were buying Bethesda, I'm like, okay, that's actually a really good move by Microsoft. I mean, picking up Zen, and I mean, now that I also know that it's not just Bethesda, it's ZeniMax Media, so it's Bethesda, IO Interactive, Arcane, a few other studios. Are all under this umbrella. I really think that's a good acquisition for them. Now, you know, what's Microsoft going to do? I mean, let me put it this way. This gives Microsoft some massive exclusives because there is no way in hell that they are not going to make the next Elder Scrolls game a Microsoft exclusive. There is no way in hell they do not do that. Because like I said, it's my biggest thing with the current lineup on the Xbox Series X. I don't think they have the exclusives right now to fight Sony with what they've got lined up on the PS5. So you know what? I think it's a great move by them to pick this studio up, or to pick up Bethesda. So like I said, I mean, definitely the next Elder Scrolls game has got to be an exclusive. Again, that's just me theorizing, but although I also find it odd that that Yakuza Like a Dragon, seeing that we'll be talking about that later, is not a timed exclusive. It's weird because it's going to be out launch day for the Xbox Series X, which is 2 days before the PS5, which it's going to launch Series X, Xbox One, and PS4. Like a Dragon's not going to come to PS5, I saw, until March of 2021. That is such a weird decision there, but whatever, that we'll talk about that later. So like I said, I mean, Microsoft picks up some really good studios there with this deal. I think that's actually really good for Microsoft, and oddly enough, I agree with Phil Spencer that they don't have to come to PS5. I mean, really, why would you? I mean, you picked up some really big studios there, even though I would argue that, you know, for me at least, the Elder Scrolls games, I mean, I'll play them. I'll definitely play the next one. I liked Skyrim. It's just, it didn't draw me in like a lot of other people, like it drew in a lot of other people. Fallout 4 and Fallout 3. Well, Fallout 4 I liked more than 3, but I still think Fallout 4 was still, kind of, it just, I'm going to be entirely honest, I liked New Vegas better. I loved Fallout New Vegas. I was really pulling for that studio. For some reason, my brain cannot come up with who developed New Vegas, because I really wanted to like The Outer Worlds, and it really kind of lost me. I'll get back to it eventually and see if I can kind of hop back into it, but yeah, The Outer Worlds just kind of fell flat. It was interesting at the start, but it just kind of went nowhere. But still, So yeah, I mean, for me, and also with Doom Eternal, I think that the first Doom game of these new reboots was better. But again, I still really liked Eternal. That was fun. Wolfenstein, just all this stuff. I like the games that these companies are pulling out. I forgot my entire point in all of this. What was it? It was Elder Scrolls, Bethesda. I don't remember. It had something to do with. For me, this isn't a super big acquisition because I mean with Bethesda it's hit and miss. But again, with me, but I get it. It's a massively fan loved studio. So there we go. I think that's what I was trying to get at. I don't know. Moving on to the actual article, by the way, this is on GameSpot. Alessandro Barbarossa, last month, Microsoft announced acquisitions at Max Media, yada, yada, yada. While Microsoft hasn't detailed its release plans for Bethesda games in the future, Xbox's Phil Spencer says the price of the deal isn't forcing any decisions about game platforms, which is weird to me because I would say if I was Phil Spencer, I would start blowing raspberries at at PlayStation, going nah. That's just me. But whatever. Especially if you're going to spend $7.5 billion. Well, whatever. Well, granted, that's Microsoft. Whatever. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make a distinction that it's Microsoft, not Xbox, but still one. Let's be honest, one and the same. Whatever. The reason I say this is because I've had people tell me, well, AJ, Xbox is a different company than Microsoft. Well, because technically they are separate, even though Microsoft owns Xbox. You get what it's like. PlayStation is owned by Sony. Technically, they're not the exact same thing, yet I'll use them interchangeably, just like I will with Microsoft and Xbox. So there we go. That's how I'd put it. But whatever. The acquisition cost Microsoft $7.5 billion and is expected to close soon, but Microsoft has said that existing exclusivity deals for games like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo on the PlayStation 5 will not be changed, which I'm actually glad about, especially with Deathloop. Ghostwire Tokyo has really caught my eye. I'm really interested in playing it. I mean, there's still, as far as I can tell, at least with Deathloop, is going to appear on both platforms. But I'm really glad that Deathloop is not going to be made into an Xbox exclusive because I really like the idea of what Deathloop's going to be doing with the haptic feedback on the PlayStation 5 DualSense. Specifically that of, I know that when, say, your gun jams, actually your right trigger will itself lock up. I really like that idea, and I really hope I don't break a controller doing that, but either way. Let's see here. The future of Bethesda titles is less certain. I feel like that should be less certain, but whatever. However, with Microsoft previously stating that it would determine release platforms for games on a case-by-case basis. Okay, I'd still just say we're doing our own exclusives. Eat shit. Spencer, speaking to Kotaku, didn't elaborate on the stance, but did mention that Microsoft has no obligation to release games on platforms it doesn't control for the financial aspect of the deal to make sense. Well, yeah, no shit. I mean, I saw some people going, oh, I can't believe that they take this away from people on one platform, and I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you pick up an exclusivity deal. I mean, honestly, this is Microsoft's version of picking up what Sony did with Insomniac. Granted, Insomniac was kind of already a Sony studio, but still, you get what I mean. It's in the realm of a big pickup in that form. Let's actually check out the quote here. And I quote, "We have xCloud and PC and..." xCloud. I'm sorry. I really hate this whole idea of streaming bullshit like Stadia. Yeah, look, I've made my... Game Pass is about the one thing here that's mentioned that I actually like. For me, I don't see the... whatever. In our console base, I don't have to go ship those games on any other platform other than the platforms we support in order to kind of make the deal work for us, whatever that means. Yeah, what does that mean, Phil? You're talking to us. Explain it, replied Spencer when asked about whether Microsoft will need to sell The Elder Scrolls 6 on PS5 to recoup costs. No, because I think that they'd be able to actually sell finally a title that I think you can sell the Xbox Series X on. Granted, it's not going to be a launch title, but still a title that makes people actually consider the Xbox Series X over the PS5, because right now I've said in terms of exclusives, I mean, hell, especially at launch, I think PS5's kicking the shit out of them, but that's just me. But yeah, oddly enough, it does make me laugh though that I'm hearing, Spencer, who's been saying after they got stomped by Sony last generation, that we're playing different games than Sony. We're focusing on different aspects like the streaming and the cloud and all this shit. And yeah, all that always made it seem like Spencer was just having massive sour grapes after being spanked by Sony for so long. So this kind of pickup going, we have all this stuff in our console base. I don't see why we would release them on all these other consoles. It's just like these. Look, I know that Ryan McCaffrey wants to act like he's not an Xbox fanboy. I think he's an Xbox fanboy. Look, I'll admit I'm more of a Sony guy. I think it's been very, very obvious with how I've talked about consoles on the channel, where I lean more towards Sony. He leans more towards Xbox. I still respect his reporting and everything, but I laugh when all these guys who are clearly fanboys are going to go, oh well, we should get rid of exclusives and we should push more towards gaming and getting games out to more people, to the most people we can, and it's all about expanding games and all this. And Phil Spencer's made his own comments about this shit. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Look, you're butthurt that you got stomped by the PS4. Look, I'm not going to say the Xbox One did terribly, but come on. Everything did the Switch did okay, but the Switch was out. Again, when it comes to the console war, I don't consider Nintendo in that console war, just because nothing against Nintendo, because I know Nintendo does sell very well. I know the Wii sold very well. Hell, I've got my Wii right now that I bought off Amazon sitting right here next to me. Bought it mostly to play Trauma Center. But I know the Wii technically outsold, I think, the PS3 and the 360. Again, you might want to check those numbers, but I believe they outsold them. It's just because they don't come out at the same, like because the Wii in like the Switch and everything, it's always offset. They're always, in my opinion, sorry, I'm seeing this and it's bugging me. They're always appealing to different markets and audiences, and it's just, as Sony always seems, Nintendo seems like it's always doing its own thing, and I actually think that's good. I think they should continue doing it, because I think Nintendo really beats to its own drum, and I like that. But it's why I never consider itself necessarily part of the console war, so take that for, what you will. Let's see here. Although Spencer doesn't outright say whether future Bethesda titles will be multi-platform, it does seem clear now that Microsoft has the flexibility to decide that without having to think about the cost of publisher purchase. It has also released Microsoft-funded titles on competing platforms, most recently with Ori and the Will of the Wisps on Nintendo Switch. Spencer does mention in the same interview that he doesn't see the strategy as sustainable. However, combined with Obsidian Entertainment's output, there we go, Obsidian Entertainment, that was who did fuck me sideways. Obsidian, it was Outer Worlds and New Vegas. There we go. Sorry. As well as Playground Games. Playground Games Fable reboot, which I'm very interested in. I would like to know more about that. The Xbox Series X and S are shaping up to be an RPG powerhouse. What? When we'll see the fruits of the studio... Wait, what? An RPG powerhouse? What the fuck are you talking about? Elsewhere in the interview, Phil Spencer shares his thoughts on the differences between the Xbox Series X and the Series S, saying that he believes the latter will eventually be the bestseller during this coming generation. Okay. The Xbox Series X and Series S launched November 10th, 2 days later, 2 days before the PS5. Unlike the very different Series X and Series S, the only challenge between the standard PS5 and the PS5 Digital Edition is the disc drive, as one of the first moves following, which again, I still think is a better move on Sony's part, but again, I've gone into depth on that before. First move's acquisition, Microsoft put Doom Eternal on Xbox Game Pass. Doom Eternal launched first part of its Ancient Gods DLC. So, no, like I said, I think this was a good pickup by Microsoft. I disagree with some of that stuff at the end. Yeah, the fact that it's going to become an RPG powerhouse, I'll believe it when I see it, I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess PlayStation's really become more of an action-adventure platform. Stop just playing. God, fuck you, game. I guess PlayStation's really become more action-adventure over the past couple years, because I used to always think of PlayStation as God damn it, that is a cool fucking car. I might actually have to drink some of those terrible energy drinks just to try and get that thing. Sorry, distracted. I used to always think of PlayStation as more of my RPG platform, while Xbox was more of my shooters. Yet I guess that's kind of changed in recent memory. But yeah, I still wouldn't. I don't know why. Maybe the new Xbox is going to come out and surprise me, and not be as fucking clunky to play as my Xbox One. But generally, unless I'm playing something for the channel, I'm not playing my Xbox One. It's just, I find it clunky. I've said it before, I like trophies over achievements. I don't know why I get more of a sense of accomplishment with trophies than I do achievements, but yeah, it's just something about that RPG comment just doesn't sit right with me. But either way, all in all, again, no matter all the jokes I make about Xbox, no matter all that, I'll say it one more time. I think this is a very good acquisition for them. I think it's a very smart move. And again, I think this should just start going on after Deathloop and Ghostwire, just because those two, like I said, I think have already been being developed. Those were already in development before this purchase, but everything moving on now, or anything that's in early enough development that you can start to make exclusives, yeah, I'd say just start going exclusives. But that's my take on it. All right, on to our next article here. This one is from last week, 12 days ago. Jordan Gerblick of, I believe this is Games Radar. Yeah, this is Games Radar. PS5 will let you record voice chats and report them to moderators. Now, I am upfront not a fan of this feature. I know, what is this? AJ saying good things about Microsoft, bad things about Sony, left is right, up is down, horses eating each other, anarchy in the streets. But no, seriously, I'm not a fan of this feature. And if you're wondering why I'm not a fan of this, look, initially I'm like, oh, okay, so you can record voice chats. Okay, that could be kind of interesting for, creating clips, creating whatever, from a content creation standpoint. But no, if this is going to basically be used as I don't want to say a snitch feature, because this is one of those that I think there are two camps in this, and neither one is correct, because it's two sections of the gaming audience that I really don't like, and that is the very far overly sensitive, yeah, they're getting shit talked, yeah, they're having horrible things said to, but at the same time, we all get terrible things said to us. It's generally why I turn off voice chat when I play, if I'm gonna, drop into a COD game online, yeah, I'm turning off everyone's voice. I don't want to hear it. It's generally why I don't play games online. It's why I stopped playing, it's why I stopped playing League of Legends. As much as I like playing League, I'm shitty at it, but it's kind of why I don't play it, so I don't have to deal with people in chat. So yeah, it is what it is. It's part of online gaming. Well, what, did anybody remember Halo 2 online? Granted, I wasn't playing a lot back then, but I still played every so often when I went over to a buddy's, playing on that giant brick of an original Xbox. But yeah, listening to all the 12-year-olds yelling curse words that made no sense because I used them out in the wrong spots. It's really funny. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that side, the overly sensitive. We're gonna, it's like, oh, well, we need to be able to report people. Okay, so you're gonna get banned people. You're gonna go out and ban people because they shit talk to you playing COD. Really? Oh, well, it's harassment. No, it's somebody being a fucking asshole. Oh, well, they're there every time I play. It's always, oh, well, I played with them one time, then another time. I'm just like, well, I'm sorry. That's just how online communities are in these voice chats and everything. People talk shit. They say horrible things. Mute people. It's what I do. And I'm one of those terrible, those terrible, I'm a straight white man. Oh my God. So yeah, I and I get shit talked to me. It's why, and I'm also terrible at online games. It's why I turn that shit off. And before anybody thinks that I'm not gonna say that the other side, the people who talk shit, who say the horrible things I'm fans of, no, I don't like them either. I don't like either side in this because I think they both suck. I really don't like either side in this conflict. But yeah, I generally don't like just because I think it's going to divide the audience or the community. Hate using that word, but I'm going to use it. It's just going to cause so much riff, and I feel like this is going to get abused. I mean, obviously it's going to get abused because what's thrown out, what reporting system isn't overly abused. Yeah, it's just going to it's just going to create a snitch culture on PlayStation 5. People are just going to be afraid of chatting with people. It's just, this is going to, I think, do more harm than good. Because like I said, I get what Sony's trying to do. It's not going to work out. Just because how many times do we have to see companies try shit like this? It's not going to work out. Let's actually read the damn thing. Sony has clarified a controversial pop-up PS4 players are seeing that warns them their voice chats could be recorded, explaining that the message is referring to a PS5 launch feature that will let you send recordings to moderators for review. Well, and again, another issue here is it going to, if you can send your recordings, oh yeah, that's not going to be nothing's ever going to be taken out of context. Oh, well, this person shouted something horrible at me. Yeah, but, we're also not going to put in the 10 minutes of me egging them on, because obviously people wouldn't do that. Oh, yes, they would. All people are assholes. That's just how it works. It's like I said, this is just going to get abused, and I'm not a fan of it. In response to PS4 players' concerns that Sony could be recording their in-game chats, the company updated the original announcement of Update 8.0 with some additional information. Essentially, it sounds like PS5 players will be able to record voice chats with toxic, offensive, and abusive players. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, this is... just all these buzzwords I'm not a fan of, and send them evidence over the Sony's moderators in a report. Here's a complete statement, and I quote, "Following this update, users are seeing a notification about party safety, and the voice chats in parties may be recorded. Voice chat recording for moderation is a feature that will be available on PS5 when it launches and will enable users to record their voice chats on PS5. And submit them for moderation review. The pop-up you're seeing on PS4 right now is to let you know that when you participate in a chat with a PS5 user post-launch, they may submit those recordings from their PS5 console to SIE. End quote, by the way. That just is telling me, I'm never gonna use voice chat feature on my PS5 now. Thank you for telling me that, PlayStation. Not that I use it a lot anyways, or would have used it a lot anyways, but hell no. Interestingly, I cannot fucking say that word enough. It sounds like the feature won't be available on PS4. That could be because the PS5 DualSense controller includes a built-in mic, while the PS4 DualShock doesn't. Either way, Sony has confirmed in a separate statement over Twitter that it isn't recording voice chats, so it sounds like it is a feature exclusively designated to allow PS5 players to report other players. See, and like I said, that's all it is. It is there as a report system, and again, it just, like I said, initially I thought this could be interesting, and then as soon as I really dug into it and I found out, oh, it's a report feature, hell no. This is going to get abused. This is just not going to work out. Because like I said, it's just, you got two sides of this. Like I said, you got people who are looking to get people banned. You have people who are going to say terrible things and get banned. And those two groups are going to fight. Then you got tons of us in the middle who are going to sit here and who are just sitting here going, look, I'm afraid to say anything slightly off color, slightly anything. Because again, another issue is, let's see here. Let's look at the words. Toxic, offensive, or abusive players. Okay, people could listen to the comedy that I enjoy with my buddies. That we get a little blue. We get we make offensive jokes, but it's all in good fun. We're not doing it to hurt each other's feelings. We're doing it to bust each other's chops because that's what we do. I know this is going to be he's saying he has an ex whatever friend, but no, I've got friends of multiple different races, of sexualities, of whatever. We, like I said, we bust on each other all the time for shit. It's like I said, it's for those of us in the middle who now we're even afraid. It's going to make us afraid that we can't make any sort of joke or slightly off color statement, because like I said, what nowadays isn't offensive, what nowadays isn't toxic or abusive or anything in certain eyes, it's such a bad area. And yes, I know you're going to send shit to moderators, but like I said, stuff's going to get clipped out of context. There are going to be minor bans dropped for things that aren't that offensive. This is going to get abused. I do not see this ending well, or without a big fight within the PlayStation community. It's just not going to go over. It's just not going to go over well. And like I said, I think the people who lose the most are those of us in the middle who are just afraid that, we're going to be just talking and somebody is lurking there on the game, listening on an open mic, with the finger at the ready to record something offensive. It really just does not sit well with me. Let's move on to some Assassin's Creed Valhalla news. This is from the 13th, so I think just under 2 weeks ago. Assassin's Creed Valhalla's settlement system sounds like a really good addition. See, when I first heard of this idea, it really reminds me of oh, son of a bitch. It really reminded me of the Homestead from AC3, which I actually really enjoyed that system. So I'm kind of hoping that it's going to be something similar to that. Upcoming open worlder Assassin's Creed Valhalla is keen to show Vikings as settlers as well as invaders. Main character Ivor and his or her ilk, arrive in England looking to make a new home for themselves, and this is where the game's all-new settlement system comes into play. Explained in depth over on Eurogamer. By the way, you can follow a link to this article and follow it over to this one. The system sounds like a really cool addition. The gist of it is, as you adventure across the land, raiding enemy strongholds and allying yourself with local lords, you'll assemble a catalog of resources. These resources can then be spent on your settlement, where you can construct buildings and establish trade. Apparently, there's a whole lot of stuff to unlock and eventually upgrade. Stables let you buy and train horses, while tattoo parlors open up a wealth of inky customization options. What's more, characters that you meet across the game may come back to the settlement to settle. Some can even be romanced, and Ivor will be able to ask them out on dates. Lovely. Last but not least, an assassin, remember those, called Hatham will establish the Hidden Ones Bureau in your settlement. Here you can pick up assassination targets who belong to the Order of the Ancients. It sounds similar to the web of cult assassinations that you could carry out in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Honestly, I like that. I like that the web and the cult thing is kind of being brought back. The Hidden Ones. Okay, so what is this still? No, this can't be. This isn't pre. They should be the assassins. I mean, this should be flat. I mean, the assassins were even established during the Third Crusade, which I believe predates this game. I could be wrong. My English history is very, very poor. Thank you, American education system. But yeah, man, I really like the idea of the settlement system. So what it's sounding like, it is very much like the Homestead from AC3. I'm gonna guess there's gonna be a similar trade system to that, but maybe a little bit more in depth. I don't know exactly how it's gonna work. I like the fact that they're actually having characters in the Homestead. There were characters in the Homestead in AC3, but again, I think it's going to be that system just bigger and better, which, like I said, I think that was one of the shining points of Assassin's Creed 3. I don't think this Hatham is going to be Hatham Kenway. Sorry, I just accidentally tapped something on my keyboard, really hoping it didn't fuck up the recording. But yeah, I really doubt it's going to be Hatham Kenway. I think that's just going to be a little bit of a nod. By the way, this was a Robert Ramsey article on Push Square. I didn't mention that. I always like to give credit where it's due. I like the idea of training horses. Now, that's interesting to me, is that you can actually train your horses and everything. Yeah, just in general, kind of like with Watch Dogs Legion coming out in, actually, Jesus Christ, later this week. I'm really having high hopes for Valhalla. I'm trying to temper my expectations because, in all honesty, if you saw my Assassin's Creed Odyssey LP, which, by the way, I will get back to eventually, kind of like my Red Dead Redemption 2 LP. It's one of those. I love those games. I loved RDR2, AC Odyssey. Just nah. It was fine. It was such a lackluster idea. To me, just that game did not click with me. So I'm holding out hope. It's similar to like what Watch Dogs 2 did. I enjoyed it, Watch Dogs 2, but at the end of the day, meh. It just didn't grab me. So I'm really hoping that Legion and Valhalla really get me back into their respective franchises. Specifically Valhalla, because really, as much I love Assassin's Creed, but it's just as of late my love for the franchise has been going down and down and down and down and down. Really ever since 4, if I'm going to be entirely honest. After 4 came Unity, and Unity was fine despite all the bugs, but I still think it had some promise. I think then what was Syndicate? Yes, Syndicate was after. Syndicate was after Unity, which I enjoyed Syndicate. I liked it. I thought it was a really good, was a good AC game. But again, it was pushing the multiplayer stuff. It didn't need it. I liked how it was trying to integrate some RPG elements. I liked that idea. Then we got Origins, which I don't know, man. I keep going back and forth on that. Like, I loved certain aspects of Origins and just certain other aspects. And I'm not gonna say I hated them, but I think it was Origins to me was kind of the real point of Assassin's Creed has just completely lost the idea of what Assassin's Creed was, if that makes sense. Really, once we left the Desmond trilogy, I guess it's not a trilogy, the however many games we spent with Desmond, but once we lost this like core cast of characters, it really just became games taking place in the same world, not necessarily games that have this pushed through line of this modern day plot. It's more like we're creating this universe as opposed to a specific story within the universe. Which really bugged me. And I know they're trying to do that with the chick that they introduced in Origins, which I liked her. Big problem, though, because the stories didn't feel like they connected between Origins and Odyssey, at least to me. I'm really hoping Valhalla brings back really brings back the idea of the assassins and brings back just elements of Assassin's Creed that I feel has really been waning in the series. Hell, everybody jokes that Assassin's Creed 4 was a pirate game with assassin stuff sprinkled in, which, if we're being entirely honest, it was. But still, it was there and it was prevalent and important to the story. I liked the whole office stuff, modern day stuff in AC4. I did enjoy that. But yeah, man, I'm really hoping Valhalla brings back some of that assassin-y goodness that I really think the series has been lacking. In all honesty, at this point, everybody's been saying, "Oh, you don't need the Animus stuff. You don't need that." It's just, frankly, they're just using Assassin's Creed to sell games. They don't need the Assassin's Creed. Like Odyssey didn't need to be an Assassin's Creed game. It really didn't. I don't think it furthered the plot of the Assassin's universe. I don't think it was just an Assassin's Creed game the way it played. It was an ancient Greek game that they shoehorned into Assassin's Creed, and I'm hoping we're not getting the same thing with Valhalla. That's my roundabout point. Is that I hope Valhalla is a game that fits into the Assassin's idea. Otherwise, it's just, why are we doing this? Just make a Viking game. Just make an ancient Greece game. You don't need to fit into Assassin's Creed because it's like, this is stuff in the past and we're Ubisoft. There's a reason why I've really lost a lot of faith in Ubisoft over the years, and why my opinion of them has really been pushed more towards CD Projekt Red, because I don't think they've ever disappointed me. Maybe a little bit with Gwent, but that's beside. Let's be honest, it's not a real game. But no, with their mainline Witcher games, they've never disappointed me. And I'm super stoked for Cyberpunk 2077. And speaking of developers that really never disappoint me, let's talk some Ryuga Gotoku. Ah, there we go. I got their name right. And that was a great transition. So, sticking on Push Square, again, another article by Robert Ramsey. Yakuza Like a Dragon's Yokohama map is bloody huge. Which, speaking of, this is the map that we all know and love, Kamurocho. This is Yokohama. Oh my god, I can't wait. I cannot wait for the crazy shit that is going to be in Like a Dragon. I mean, I've said this in the past. I think, given all the trailers and everything that we've seen, really, our main character, Ichiban, I really think is going to be a lot more lighthearted. I think he's going to be a lot more like the character from Judgment, more so than he's going to be like Kiryu. I think he's going to be a lot more expressive. He's going to be goofier. He's going to be a little bit more out there. And I think that's going to be really cool in the Yakuza franchise, because we all love, as much as we all love Kazuma, we all love Kiryu. He's great. He's, our stoic, badass hero who, has a heart of gold and has, he's got some really funny moments, but most of the time it's him being the straight man and him not being goofy. It's him being the butt of the joke, so to speak. Or, like, the wacky stuff is happening to him while he's being all stoic and serious. We all would love to see a game where we get to play as Mad Dog Majima. Mad Dog Majima. There we go. Well, technically we got that in Yakuza 0, but that's the prequel, and it's, beside the point. I'm really looking forward to this game, and now getting a look at this map, I'm so excited, especially for this weird combat system that it's going to implement, but that's beside the point. Let's actually get into this article. It's pretty short, so we'll be able to close this out pretty quick. Kamurocho, the infamous red light districts that's been featured in every mainline Yakuza game to date, and even Judgment, is one of our favorite places in gaming. See, I think what makes it so cool is the fact that it's really not changed over time. Its structure and maybe the buildings and certain things have been updated, but for the most part, Kamurocho has been Kamurocho. Like, we're so... if you have played so many Yakuza games, you know the just how that city's built. It's so cool to me. Let's see here. We love it to bits, but at this point, it's gaudy streets burned into our brains. Fortunately, the developer knows how to shake things up just enough as it consistently introduces new cities and towns that you can explore throughout the franchise. Yakuza Like a Dragon is no different. Alongside good old Kamurocho, Ichiban and the gang will be adventuring around Yokohama, which is another densely populated city south of Tokyo. However, it's Yokohama's size in Yakuza Like a Dragon. That's the real talking point here, as it's around 4 times as big as the Kamurocho map. That we all know and love. Does a big city like Yokohama sound good to you? Become a tourist, blah 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 blah. Yeah, man, I'm really interested to see what it's going to do, especially because we're so used to the street names and everything. But I think what actually makes me more interested in this is just how segmented the city is here, making me almost think, is there going to be like a turf war kind of mechanic? Because, we have a red light district, we have a commercial district, we have the bar district, Koreatown, Izazaki Road, Restaurant Road, you know what I mean? I mean, maybe this is just giving us an idea of, like, obviously, like our hostess clubs and, probably some other, let's say seedy joints are going to be here. This is probably going to be, obviously, like more shops and commercial districts, Koreatown, obviously, then Chinatown, I think, speak for themselves. Restaurant Rows where the restaurants are, obviously, same with the bar district. So, maybe it's just, for us to have an idea of what's going to be where. But like I said, maybe there is going to be a mini game in this where there's going to be, some like gang warfare, because we know that Ichiban was a member of I cannot remember which family, but ends up being ousted, because we know that's the whole setup for Like a Dragon. So I'm very interested to see what it's going to do. I mean, we all know that they're not shy of doing some really weird mini games inside the Yakuza franchise, i.e. Yakuza 0 introducing running the hostess club, which was really interesting to me. I mean, granted, I want to say the original Yakuza 2 had a similar mechanic, but they basically copied over Yakuza 0's version of it for Kazuma in oh, holy crap, the remake. I can't, it's not coming to me right now. Yakuza 2. I cannot remember what the subtitle was that marks the remake, but you get what I mean. Yeah, or just like the real estate thing that was also in Yakuza 0. So I mean, we could see gang warfare or something. It was Yakuza 2 that had the weird the weird battles with Majima Construction and all that. God damn it, that game is. I mean, just looking at these maps, I mean, we can come up. I mean, like, we can start pitching ideas that are going to be in a Yakuza game. But god damn it, with what Ryu Gagotoku does, it could be fucking anything. I mean, hell, we've seen summons in this game where, you know, you tap it on a phone and lobsters come out of the sky. So who the fuck knows what's going to be in this game? I'm pumped. Coming out on the 10th of November. Obviously, we'll be playing it. Tune in then for that footage. So, all right, guys, there we go. Nice little return to the weekly show. Gotta say, like I said at the beginning, and it feels good, kind of getting back into the swing of things. You know, it's still procrastinated a little bit getting this out, but you know, hopefully I can kind of slide back into everything, focusing on news that I'm really enjoying talking about and stuff like that. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I had to check my work schedule and everything. At this point, again, as always, this is always subject to change, but my current plan is to have episode 207, the next episode, next Sunday. So thanks for watching, guys. And as always, social media is in the description. Like, comment, not already, please subscribe to the channel and all that. So thanks for watching. My name's AJ Gills. This is Something Like Game Channel. I'm out.